Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Rams Revealed. It is Week 10, the final game before the bye, and that means a trip to face the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football. Our guest this week is Ben Skowronek. He is essential to the Rams kicking game, and he's breaking in week after week in the receiving core as well, taking on a greater role on offense. Ben, thanks for stopping by. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Let's start with a pronunciation check. Skowronek, how are we doing?
That's perfect.
Okay. What do people struggle with more, pronunciation or spelling?
Ooh, both equally probably.
Yeah, that is. It's difficult.
I've heard a lot of different, ways to say my last name over the years. So, PA announcers throughout high school would always mess it up. But
what's the most ridiculous?
There's so many bad ones. Like I can't even pinpoint. But there's been a lot of bad ones over the years.
Well, one of the reasons we appreciate you stepping into the ring this week is because you're coming off a difficult loss. These never feel good. I'm just wondering, from your experience, give us a temperature of the facility here this week. What's it like to try and bounce back?
Yeah, obviously you want to win every game, and sometimes you just don't execute, like we plan to. But we're excited for the opportunity on Monday. That's a beautiful thing about this game is we have another week to bounce back and get back on track. So we're excited to have the opportunity come Monday night.
When you wake up on Monday, you look back, some players performed well individually, some position groups did well, others have some specific things to work on, and that's true of every person and every position group. I'm sure you would love a do-over, right, on the Johnny Hecker first punt of the game? Oh,
yeah. Obviously, something that I need to get down inside the 5 there and try to get a little bit too aggressive, try to get down, at the 2 or 3, but, it's definitely a play I want back.
Those are the opportunities you live for as a gunner, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Those ones where you're the first down, you can make the tackle, or you can down the ball, inside the 5, inside the 10, and, put the defense out there in a good field position.
Ever since the preseason, we've been saying that the Rams have a chance to have the 2 best gunners in the league, the 2 most dynamic ones, with you and Jacob Harris in tandem. Unfortunately, he suffers a really tough injury. What's it been like having him as your running mate, and any thoughts on what he's going through?
Yeah, obviously it's tough, going through an injury like that, something like you kind of felt it right away on the field, being right there next to him. But, it was fun out there with him, both being rookies, both, being a good friend of mine. I'm on the left, he's on the right, and, just having conversations throughout the week of how we're going to beat, the Jammers. It was fun the first 9 weeks of the season, but, I'm excited for whoever it's going to be to step into that role. And, obviously it's a tough injury for Jacob, but he's the type of guy he's going to bounce back stronger.
Ben, you played college football at some of the highest levels in the Big Ten and the ACC. When your friends and family ask you what's different about the league, do you have an answer formed in your head yet?
I've obviously played at pretty high levels in college, but the NFL is the NFL. Every single player, is a good player. Every team's a good team. So, the biggest thing for me is each day, you need to be your best self. You can't get away with being average. You need to, have the mindset of being great and coming to work every single day and, focusing on being the best you that you can be. So, it's been a great challenge so far. Some days you're not feeling it, but you know to show up today because there's tons of people wanting to be in the position that you're in.
How's the workload? Because there's so many news to this, right? You're a rookie. You're new to Los Angeles and California. You're working on the kicking game. You're trying to learn an offense and play a role at receiver as well. I know you're an academic selection going back to your Northwestern days, but what's it like going from studying school and football to football full time?
It's a lot more fun. I went to 2 great institutions, but I'll just put it out there. Like I've never really loved school that much. It's something that I always did well at, but my passion's always been with football. So now it's been a lot of fun. It's easy to wake up at 5:30 in the morning and go to work, and knowing that you're going to spend all day studying tape, studying offense, studying special teams, stuff like that. And the workload's a lot. Having to know everything on special teams, having to know the whole offensive game plan. But it's fun too. It's my passion, and I wouldn't want to be doing anything else.
Sounds like more than just one job.
Yeah, there's a handful, 3 on offense, and then a handful on special teams as well.
What's it like watching Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp go about their profession?
I've just learned so much from them. They're pros. They're so detailed, to come to work every single day, with that mindset I was talking about, of being the best them that they can be. And I've just learned so much from watching them, the way they compete in practice, the way they compete each and every Sunday, the way they prepare for the games, and then the way they help me out as well. I can't thank them enough. Since I got here, in the late spring, early summer, to just this morning in film study, just all the advice, all the help they've given me, it's really helped me a lot.
I know you and I would argue they're the most complete tandem in the National Football League. As someone who comes to the league with a reputation as being a solid blocker, how privileged do you feel to kind of land in this room? It seems like it was almost destined, right? Like someone with your skill set to learn from two of the best who do it so well.
Yeah. It's actually funny. Last year, I was watching one of the Rams games, not knowing I'd be on the Rams, but I texted my dad, I love the Rams offense. It's something, I want to play in. And then after I got drafted, my dad, sent me a screenshot of that text message. So, I knew this offense was one that, I'd be able to excel in, just the way that the receivers block, the way they contribute in all phases of the offense. So, to watch, Robert and Cooper as two of the most complete in the NFL, compete, play in and play out in the run game, compete, play in and play out in the pass games, truly something, I learned from, and, just excited to keep growing into my role.
Awesome segue. Thank you for transitioning for me. Let's go to draft weekend then, okay? Morning of day 3. Let's say you wake up. Where are you and what are you thinking?
I'm actually on the golf course. I had some friends, the prior year that tell me, don't sit there in front of the TV all day and watch, every single pick. But I went out early in the morning, played around with, my friends and cousins, brothers, whatever. But, it was a long day. I watched every single pick and it really put a chip on my shoulder, seeing guys I knew I was better than, picked in front of me. Unfortunately, I had an injury in the pre-draft process. I wasn't able to, showcase my speed, run my 40. But I watched every single pick, and it really put a chip on my shoulder.
You get to the 249 range, and that's almost the point where sometimes players and their agents would rather not be drafted, right? Because then you can pick your destination. You can sign as a college free agent. How did it feel to have the Rams, given what you said a couple answers ago, announce your name?
Yeah, it was a feeling I'll never forget. It was getting towards the end of the draft. Seeing all those guys picked in front of me. I almost had a feeling of embarrassment. I had people over at the house. I was just waiting to hear my name called. It just wasn't being called. And then, to finally get that call from Les and Sean, it's a feeling I'll never forget. As a kid, my dream was always to play in the NFL, and to finally, get that call, hear my name, being picked in the NFL is something I'll never forget.
Special teams niche has got to be the weight of the roster, right? When you're drafted in that range, you have to compete in the third phase. Did that feel like your ticket to game day?
Oh, yeah, I feel like both phases. I felt like I could come in and contribute on offense as well. But, obviously as a 7th-round guy in a receiver room and, as deep as the Rams, I knew I had to contribute on special teams and just go out there. And, I think, my skill set as a receiver, is, transfers perfect, to the special teams phase as well. So, I didn't take too many reps preseason. I didn't even take a rep at Gunner in the preseason. My first rep was at Seattle at Gunner. So, it's just playing football. Special teams to me is like playing backyard football growing up. You have to do everything: block, run, tackle. It's just fun. I wish I played more special teams in college, but it's so much fun for me to be able to run at full speed and go down and hit someone.
You were one of the standouts on offense in training camp, I thought. It was remarkable the rapport you developed early with Matthew Stafford, given his first season here and yours in the NFL to begin with. But then you go out and you break your arm, and you require surgery after that first preseason game. At that point, were you worried?
Oh, yeah.
Did you know if you had done enough to make this team?
Obviously it's the NFL. Like I, alluded to earlier, it was, there's so many people, fighting for, so many spots in the NFL, and to have an injury pre-draft process, I didn't really do much in the OTAs, and then I was able to flash what I can do early in training camp. Then to break my arm, it was just mentally hard. With cuts coming up, I had no idea what was going to happen. So, luckily I had great support, from people within this building, then my family and friends outside the building that. Every single day, reaching out, checking up on me and just being away from the game, I was only out for like 3 weeks, surprisingly. I thought I was going to be out, I didn't know how long, when I broke my arm, and, the worst is going through your head. But I was able to come back to practice 2 weeks later. But it just made me appreciate the game so much more. Having to stand on the sideline and watch, sometimes you take it for granted. But, I'll never take it for granted again after going through that.
I only wish you could have been back for week 2, because that would have been at Indy and a bit of a homecoming game for you, right? Your family's still in Fort Wayne area?
Yeah. I was really hoping, I was begging to be clear by then, but unfortunately, I wasn't. But yeah, it would have been fun to, play back at home.
Great compliment to you, though, that the Rams not only decided to keep you on the roster, but kept you active, saved that spot on the 53 to have you in the first quarter of their season. How rewarding was it then to get those first few NFL receptions at Houston?
It was very rewarding. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier, as a kid, I watched my uncle play in the NFL, and it's something that, when people ask me what I wanted to do, it was always I want to play in the NFL. So to finally get out there and make a couple catches, I've worked, super hard. I've dedicated so much, sacrificed so much throughout the years, to reach this dream, and to feel like some of that hard work paid off a little bit. Felt great, but it also made me a little hungrier. You get a little taste of it,
no kidding.
Now I just want more and more. I feel like I'm working harder to have a bigger role in this offense.
I think our audience knows the family connection to Trent Green, the uncle you referenced there. You also get a shout out for Torrey Holt for your hands after that game and your work on special teams.
Oh yeah, so on draft day, I have some old Rams stuff from when my uncle played, and one of the things I had was a signed hat from Torrey Holt. So it all comes back full circle. It's pretty sweet.
Well, I know you have to get to a meeting here, so let's finish quickly with the segment we call 3 and Out. I've got 3 final questions for you. If you answer them correctly, they're not hard, don't worry. I'll make a donation to the LA Rams Foundation on your behalf. Same for all of your teammates who have come through the Rams Revealed podcast, okay?
They better be easy.
First one is, rumor has it, our research department tells me you have a Notre Dame license plate. I wonder how your Northwestern friends feel about that.
Well, my car is registered in Indiana, so that's the only one I could pick, right? But that is true.
But you got a teammate, Jameer Jones, claimed off waivers from Pittsburgh, some Northwestern flavor with Ernest Brown, also a pro cat, right? So
that's right.
Both programs represented here with the Rams. Research question: how did your hometown trainer come up with the nickname Harry Potter? Where does that play into your background?
When I first started training. It's just, I was an unathletic kid. I didn't really, it was kind of awkward. Grew a little bit, had big hands, big feet, but still hadn't really grown into my body and was uncoordinated. But credit to him, Dre Muhammad. Without him, I wouldn't be here today.
Harry Potter fan or no? Not really.
I never really was into Harry Potter.
You grew out of it into a professional football player. Last question: did you ever get that picture with Denver Nuggets center Nikola Jokic?
Oh yeah, the Joker, one of my favorite NBA players. I saw him pregame. I was like, I need to get a picture with this guy. MVP of the NBA, so it was pretty cool.
That was at SoFi Stadium?
That was.
Obviously the Stan Kroenke connection, pretty cool. You're also a former prep teammate of an NBA player, right? Caleb Swanigan, McDonald's All-American. You guys won a state title together?
State title. Indiana basketball is big, back in the Midwest. So to play with him, he was an unbelievable player, and so much fun playing basketball back in the day.
There are a lot of Rams who claim to be the best hoops player on the roster in this facility, but we think Ben Skowronek deserves to be in the running. Nice to meet you. Thanks for stopping by. Good luck this week on Monday Night Football against San Francisco. For Ben Skowronek, I'm JB Long, and this is Rams Revealed.